All right, well, welcome back to Really Ringwood. It's is it hot in here, or is it just the election season? I mean, it seems that way, right? I mean, here we are in Ringwood. It's a pivotal town, direction-changing election cycle where that's right, remember, 5 whole seats are up for grabs on our 7-person council.
Just a few short weeks ago, we were speaking to you about mailers that had been sent by the Republican candidates in the past. Mailers that seemed to either go exclusively negative, making sweeping overgeneralizations and creating fake narratives about the opposition, or else taking credit for things others have done, or making extremely vague, difficult-to-measure campaign promises right before an election. We ended that episode wondering if this year would be more of the same, or a refreshing change into a more positive, unifying election tone. Well, we didn't have to wait very long.
We did not, because last weekend, many Ringwood residents were met with this flaming dumpster fire of lies in their mailbox. Nice subtlety there, whoever wrote this episode. Now, we here at Really Ringwood try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and sometimes there may be misunderstandings, slight exaggerations of facts, but that's not the case here.
No, there's no poetic license of what we think. This is truly a dumpster fire.
This mailing is an outright lie to you, the people of Ringwood. A lie told by your sitting deputy mayor, Jamie Mateo Landis, Councilwoman Kerr, and Councilman Rabacki, and by council candidates Zoltan Karali and Yvonne Eccles. Election day is less than a month away, and we strongly encourage the people of Ringwood to make sure that the Republicans hear loud and clearly that we, the residents of the town, will not be lied to. So the flyer begins, if Ringwood Democrats get their way, and there's an overhead shot of the Fieldstone property, and there's a highlighted area called the Pagano property. We'll talk about that in a minute, but it was with an arrow saying this, the Pagano property, was going to look like this, and then there was a cheap stock image of a bulldozer and some dirt being pushed around.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's in that dirt, but if you're doing any sort of excavating in or around Fieldstone, it's not going to look that clean. So, could have done better. That's just how I see it.
So, and then it says, inside, learn how Republicans are trying to save Skyline Drive from a greedy developer and prevent high-density housing from being built there. Then it goes through a whole bunch about talking about how the Democrats called for converting commercial space into apartments and making a walkable downtown area, which matches Pagano's plan. Now, for those that don't know, Pagano is a developer who owns that property and has been trying for a number of years to develop it. Now, we are not here to go through their plan because we don't represent Pagano in any way, nor do we know what the plan really looks like because I'm sure the plan has changed since it was made public, and I don't even know if it was ever fully made public or not.
And again, therein also it just lies a bigger problem there with the Republicans in charge of council. These are the kind of things that we would actually like to have we'd like to have some visibility into, but
absolutely,
we don't ever get that until it's too late, and then it takes a groundswell. Anyway, we know what some great organization in this town did to keep high density housing from occurring. But let's back to the mailer.
And then just one more point from the mailer. It says that Ringwood Democratic leadership called for 215 low-income units to be built. That was not called for by Democrats. That is our obligation to the state based on the size of the town and other factors. That is what we were told we should build. So, again, another lie on top of the other lies.
Right. Now, to set the record straight, in 2017, Ringwood Republicans unveiled their plan of Ringwood Crossing, which was this 4-story high-density housing development project planned to be built on Skyline Drive. At the time, then Mayor John Spear, a current member of council, mind you, said in 2017 that this was, quote, just a matter of whether the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection and the Highlands Council can accept the vision. Take a look at what that looks like there on your screen.
The footage is too long to embed here, but in our show notes, we have a link to the 2017 council meeting where all this was unveiled, and you can see clear as day that this was a plan Republicans endorsed and were excited about. Anything we say, you can argue with. You can say we're twisting the truth or whatever. You cannot twist the truth from this video. So if you have any doubts about what we're saying so far, go to the video, the YouTube video in the show notes, watch it for yourself, and tell me, does this seem like a group who was opposed to high-density housing?
And then in 2021, again, the Ringwood Republican Majority Council reached an agreement with Fair Share Housing. Attorney for the town, Thomas Dunn, detailed that plan, which included 96 units in the Fieldstone Park Shopping Center, 64 units across the street at the shopping center along where CVS is, and another 60 along Greenwood Lake Turnpike near the Skyline Lake Shopping Center. And keep in mind, this didn't just pop out of nowhere in 2017. There had been years of studies and planning and proposals before we even got to this stage. And then in 2021, dozens and dozens of Ringwood residents, primarily Democrats, proudly displayed no high-density housing signs along Skyline Drive. While many Republicans and many independents also opposed high-density housing, it was certainly not the Republicans on the town council who were fighting against this horrible plan.
Then this year, 2023, after years of litigation at our expense, us the taxpayers, the borough manager said at the January 2023 meeting that the affordable housing settlement would be resolved in the coming months. At this time, the residents of Ringwood, not solely the Republican council, went to work. The Neighbors for the Preservation of Ringwood Facebook group began as a place for planning and collaborating, and residents began demanding answers and transparency from the council.
Right. We kind of hinted at that while we were describing the mailer, but these folks, these are the people that really started to get the needle moving on whether or not this was a good idea.
Absolutely.
In May of 2023, the council released resolution number 2023-130, concluding that it was not feasible to continue to pursue high-density housing at Fieldstone and Ringwood Plaza. But make no mistake here, this was a plan that was many, many years in the making, and the only reason that this plan was halted was due to the hard work and persistence of the people of this town who have never wanted high-density housing in the first place. And let me take that point a little bit further. The Democratic members of the town council in 2021, that being Kathy O'Keefe, Ryan Bolton, and Rob Ferretti, have been opposed to high-density housing. And present candidates for a fresh start for Ringwood have also been proudly against high-density housing from the very beginning. And the same just simply cannot be said for the Republican candidates running for council.
It's disappointing, it's disheartening to see how low one slate will go to try and win. Perhaps some members of the council may have thought that this was a viable option at one point, and upon learning how unpopular it was with the town, they decided to go in a different direction. That sort of series of events would be understandable. It would be an appropriate way of governing a town, looking into an option, gauging resident input, and making decisions accordingly. Instead, the council acted in secret, trying to shove high-density housing down Ringwood's throat and hoping that residents would just be unaware until it's too late.
And I think of how much time and resources did we spend on this for the last couple of years as a town? And not only do we have nothing to show for it, we never wanted it in the first place. I mean, it's just wasteful, terribly wasteful.
Well, not only that, I was having a conversation with a neighbor the other day about the election, and they said they had already voted by mail, but they wish they could take their vote back. They did this because they got this mailer, thought that the Democrats were for high-density housing, and voted against them because of what they read in the mailer. So these lies are working. People are hearing the lies of the council, and they are they're succeeding in tricking people into voting against their own interests.
Yeah, so folks, Ringwood, listen, don't be duped, don't be fooled. We've been fooled for so many years by these absolutely half-baked, untruths that get sent to us in the October and the September timeframes. It's just garbage, and it's a continuation of that garbage. Do not be fooled, because they're just lies. They're outright lies, and that conversation that you had with that local resident is absolutely proof that it can work. And please just take a moment to hear not just what we're saying, but what's out there about what the facts really and truly are.
And if you are opposed to high-density housing, you should be voting for the slate that has always opposed it, and that is a fresh start for Ringwood.